Or we're going live. We're live.
Oh, we're live now?
We're live.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the 3 of 7 podcast. We're so happy to have you here. This will be our last live stream for the day. And today we have a special guest on the camera, your friend, Babyhead, the friend of the world, Babyhead, otherwise known as the tech guy. We've got your other good friend, Chili, over here, but he's been huffing paint all day, and we don't quite know if he's going to make it through the podcast. And then we have
Easy. We're in a good spot this morning.
beautiful Miss Brooke Biscuit behind the camera, behind the computer to monitor your stupid comments that you like to make, YouTube.
Oh,
So, welcome back.
the aggression went to someone else. That's good.
Yeah. What's up, YouTube? Babyhead did a daggone 100 miles race this past weekend. We're going to talk to him about that today because, we'll see how that went for him. Boy, what a great way to wrap up a summer. You know what I mean? What a great weekend that was. The summer, it's like the summer's gone. It was really weird for me because when we finished that race, which I ran it too, but I actually ran it. When we finished that race, it got cold. Well, cold compared to what it has been being. Like the fall weather rolled in that day and it's just stayed around. So that was like the cap off. The summer is gone, man.
It'll probably get hot again.
Well, I don't know if it'll get hot again, but yeah, the summer's gone. So that was a nice way to kind of book in the summer, which has been quite a summer for us here at 3 of 7 Project. Thank you for joining us, YouTube. Thank you for joining us if you're listening on the audio platform. This is the 3 of 7 podcast. Y'all know what we do around here. Chili's freaking pissed because it's college football season, and y'all obviously don't want him to watch football, YouTube. You obviously want him in the dungeon packing orders because I put these I put these new Truck Talk shirts on a video on a Truck Talk yesterday. I don't even know how many of these summer guns the people have went out and bought.
I don't either. I'm afraid to look.
Hundreds of you guys have went out and got you a new Truck Talk shirt, man. And
Well,
I appreciate that.
you got 130 orders to pack, Chili.
Yeah, but a lot of those orders are multiple shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Chili.
This shirt was actually drawn up and designed by our good friend David Charbonnet.
It's excellent.
And if you guys know about the treadmill race that went down last winter, you guys know David Charbonnet. But I hit him up. He drew this up just for you guys. And we just appreciate the response that you guys always come through with on YouTube with these daggone Truck Talks, man, because it's just awesome to know that hundreds of people will be out wearing a Truck Talk shirt.
People are saying they're going to buy one right now.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, Chili's pissed, man.
He got more shirts than that toe can carry.
I told him on the. That's a good thing you brought that paint with you. I told him on the last Truck Talk I did, I said, it's college football season and Chili just wants to watch football. So everyone go buy a shirt so he can watch football.
Do you really watch football, Chili?
I don't know if people buy the shirts because they don't want Chili to have time to do anything that he wants to do, or if they buy the shirts because they actually want the shirt. I have no clue. People could be buying these shirts and then just like giving them the goodwill.
Well, rest assured, Chili will watch the sports. So
Can't you do that while you're packing?
He'll make sure the packing center and the TV center are at one. And worst case scenario, he just won't pack orders. So he will watch his games.
Oh, man. What else we got going on, Blake? Is the Proving Grounds full?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if you didn't
Dang,
put in for the
filling 'em
Proving
up.
Grounds, you're too late for that. That one's already full in January, so screw you. You should have got on it, but you're probably too daggone fat and out of shape to make it through the Proving Grounds anyways.
Very combative.
So if
Wow.
you're, if you want to train, you can apply for the ROP course, and maybe Babyhead will pick you for it, because I think there's still some spots left for some ROP courses.
I hadn't started filling them next year. Probably next I'll start doing the basic courses. I think we'll have one of those before we have a ROP course.
How many basic courses are we doing?
2?
Only 2.
Next year?
2.
That's only 16 people will get to do the basic course.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Holy smokes. Yeah. Oh, there's another order just came through.
Turn that off, man.
That's going to stress Chili out.
So we only got, Blake will start selecting for the basic course. Only 16 people, because it's 8-person teams. Then we got a handful of ROP courses. The Rite of Passage course, man, I basically ran my race based off of how we conduct ourselves during the Rite of Passage course. It's a really great mission, especially for you guys that want to maybe aspire to run an ultra marathon or something like that. But if you don't, it's still a great mission. Oh, dang, there's another.
2 people just
Dang,
said, Chili,
freaking orders are rolling in,
they
son.
said, Brian D said, I'm fixing to get me one of them shirts right now. And then Chad's phone went off.
These orders are rolling in, dude. So anyways, if you want to train with us here at 307 Project next year,
Yeah.
right now is the time to start putting the daggone applications in. Because I imagine whatever. Right now is the time to start putting the applications in. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, last month was the time.
Yeah,
But-
and if you apply, you might get picked. I don't know if you'll get picked or not, but go ahead and apply. All right, it's on the daggone website, man.
Yeah.
We try to make things easy for you turds, man. It's on the freaking website. All right. If you don't like our website, because our website looks like something out of the freaking 1970s. If you don't like it, you can screw off, man. Go find you another website to browse around on. All right?
You tell him,
Our
babe.
website ain't for browsing.
Crap about you. Yeah, our website ain't even for browsing, man.
Don't even browse.
Go
at
on
all.
there and apply for a daggone mission and then get off of it and go do something useful with your life. Yeah, I've been on my cell phone too
browsers.
much here lately. It's driving me crazy. We need to get off these cell phones, man.
We've been putting the cell phones in the bucket at night.
Well, you didn't do it last night. I put mine in the daggone bucket and you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
I'm not going to take up time arguing about this, but you're full of crap.
Very combative.
Ain't that a Sarah Evans song, Cell Phone in the Bucket? Clothes hanging out on the line.
Oh, man.
I don't even know who that is.
Yes, you do.
All right.
Cell phone in the bucket.
Okay. This is, by the way, this is the premier ultra running podcast on the web.
It is number 1. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, it's always been number 1.
You know, I don't know how, YouTube podcast, but podcast. The other day I was on there.
Good catch.
Oh yeah, this is a podcast. That's true. That's the reason it's number 1.
We're
It's
the number 1 overall podcast.
It's the only podcast out there.
Well, I was looking through, and health and fitness come up, and it was the first suggestion. I don't know if it's. I mean, I wasn't on our account. I was on my personal account, but
I
don't know
wonder
if
that,
it
too.
recommended it to other people too. I don't listen to our podcast, but so it shouldn't have.
Well, you do listen to it while you sit here and you're listening to it right now.
Right.
But not. I don't stream it.
Why would you go back and listen
Well, that's
to a
what I'm
conversation
saying.
that you had?
I'm saying I don't stream it, so it shouldn't have suggested it off of my listening. But
Well, I
anyhow,
I will have a question for Chili before we dig into Blake's 100-mile walk.
All right. Go ahead. Before you even ask this, you're going to need to decide right now if you're going to keep being a dickhead or not. Because if you are, I'm going to make this really difficult for you.
He's shaking that can at you. You better look out.
Oh no!
I'll take a few hits off of this.
Okay,
and
I'll start
give you the
being
what
nice.
for.
He'll come across the table like a spider
I'll
monkey.
start being nice. Oh, well, by the way, man,
Hey, man.
that freaking talking about this 100-mile race. I didn't even freaking train for this thing, dude.
I knew
I
this
tried
was
to give
coming.
everybody the best opportunity they could ever have to beat me at something.
And what's his name? Alex. He did
One guy beat me. Yeah, one guy beat me.
by 2.5 hours, 2 hours,
No, not that long.
It was. It
hour
was
and a half,
that long.
Oh.
2 hours, hour and a half. Yeah,
It was that long.
gave you the what? He gave you the what
Imagine
for.
if I would have actually tried, man. I mean, it would have just been stupid. I'm so dang good, I can't even try anymore. Because if I try, there's absolutely no way that anyone could possibly beat me.
Hold on.
I have to intentionally not try at
Wait.
everything I
I know,
do
I know you're being
just to be competitive.
I know you're being a silly boy right now,
I didn't even train, dude.
but
I'm a
who
freaking mountain biker.
But who takes pride
Thank you, Chili.
in the fact that they didn't train for a race?
Thank you, Chili.
I'm just saying, I didn't even train and only one person there could beat me. It's freaking sad, man. What's wrong with people? What are people doing? Sitting around
What are
freaking
you
twiddling
doing?
their
Why
thumbs?
don't you train? You
Right.
don't want to win?
I do mountain biking, man.
Well, yeah, you've won a lot of that. You've won a lot of that.
I'm working on my skills, man.
Jeez.
He's bragging about being second place
He's
because he
bragging
didn't put in the
about.
work.
He sounds like those people who are like, I ran a marathon and didn't even freaking train, man. I ran it in 6.5 hours. It's like, well, who gives a dang?
Yeah.
Of course, you would have ran it in 4 hours if you trained, 3 hours if you train. I mean, who
Right.
brags about not training?
Hey, man.
It's bizarre.
The only thing I wanted to happen at this race was for Justin Hamilton's dreams to come true. I wanted him to beat me. I showed up intentionally untrained so that he could beat me. And he didn't. Justin, man, what the heck? Where were you, man? Come on, guys. I'm trying to give you a chance. All of you guys, all right? Trying to give y'all a chance.
It was that doo-doo that took him in. You
Yeah.
listened to his race report.
The question I have for you, Chili, how has our YouTube channel not become demonetized? I'm looking on social media, and a bunch of these people's YouTube channels are getting demonetized. How has our channel not been demonetized? What's going on there? Are we just, is the channel just not big enough?
Maybe.
Like, I'm seeing guys
Who's
like,
getting demonetized?
the most recent one I saw was Mike Glover, the Fieldcraft Survival.
He saw one channel
Guy-
got demonetized.
No, and then I
That's what
started-
everybody did.
And then I started reading the comments and seeing the other people. But he's got a channel with like almost 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, Mike's channel's big, I think. But who else? I mean,
Oh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, he must have. I've seen some of his stuff, I think, but I don't know what all he's talking about. He probably pissed off YouTube, but
What is this?
You just ain't done it yet.
What is this Rumble thing?
It's another platform that a lot of people who are real conservative and don't like the YouTube games are trying to get their favorite creators to go over there and make videos on Rumble. However, what they seem to be missing is that Rumble absolutely sucks.
Does it really?
If you've ever watched a video on Rumble, what's funny is people will tell you to do that on YouTube because they're still watching YouTube because Rumble is unwatchable. That's why they're doing that. But they want you to go over there because they like the idea of Rumble. Well, I like the idea of Rumble too, but they're going to have to make a platform that doesn't suck. Because if you go watch a video at Rumble, it's absolutely impossible to navigate. See, YouTube runs off of Google's search engine, so it's perfect. It's great. YouTube is it functions fantastically, and all this other competitors absolutely are terrible. The only thing going for them is that they promote free speech and everything, which is great. But you're gonna have to make a better app.
Okay.
You're gonna have to make a better user experience, or else no one's gonna go over there, including the people that are telling you to go over there. Because they're still on
They're
YouTube.
still on YouTube.
Telling you. Clearly they ain't over there, so.
Well, that's not the question you were going to ask Chili because there's some grand question because Brooke pulled out her phone to video the thing.
Oh, wow.
No, that was all I had. That's all I wanted to ask him.
I thought you were going to ask him what you were talking crap about last night.
talking crap about last night?
Chad
Yeah,
talks
you were-
crap about you. At
You were
night
talking
to
mad
Brooke.
crap about chili last night.
Well, that's fine.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, you just freaking made that up.
Oh,
That's when he was putting his phone in the bucket.
All right.
that threw him off hard.
He was probably talking crap about I'm not because I haven't raced.
Maybe.
Y'all are the
No.
only two that race.
No, I wasn't talking crap about you. I don't even know where that even came from. Biscuit, you better be good.
heck?
You're lucky I allow you to come on this podcast. you know how many people would kill to be on this podcast with me right now? A lot. And you're here. I mean, be thankful for what you have, boo boo.
I think I'm taking the high road like I did last week just to save time.
Well,
Most people that listen to this know you're full of crap.
It'd be a shame if this podcast ended abruptly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you behind the keys today.
yeah, it would be a shame. This is our last live stream for the day.
Yeah.
For the day.
All right. Let's get into this, man. Blake, why did you even decide to run this race, man? Because, traditionally, you've enjoyed running here and there, but 100 miles is a big deal. If anybody completes their first 100-mile race, it's a freaking big deal. It is and will be hard unless you're chilly and you just go out and win your first 100-mile race somehow. But for most of us, our first 100-mile race is right up there with the hardest thing we've ever done physically and probably mentally in our lives. So why did you even decide to take this thing on, Blake?
Well, yeah, I mean, even as much running as I did, I still wouldn't call myself a runner, and I don't really like to run, but we got, I'd wanted to do a 100-miler for a while, probably since I did the 50-milers that I did, and I just never really thought it was the right time or thought I had time to train like I should. And we got back from the Cocodona doing that, and I was just kind of, being in that area or in that arena, even if it's just crewing, just being around those kind of people and things, just kind of sparked that interest back in my mind. So when we got home, I looked through the calendar and saw, well, we're not really traveling much, so it's kind of a pretty good time that I could get the training in. Chili committed to coaching me, and kind of the main driving force behind why I want to do it, because I don't enjoy the running really, but I like what it gives me, and that is, it challenges me, probably because I don't like doing it, and I really just wanted to do it because we have such a big opportunity to share and influence and lead other people, and everybody has that opportunity. But at least in my life, I have my family, my kids, and then everybody through 3 of 7. And I just thought, man, it's been it's been a couple years since I've done anything that really is just a gut check for me. And here I have this opportunity to lead these people, and I just began to think about, man, if somebody came up to me and they said, hey, I'm struggling in my marriage and I want to quit, or I'm struggling, maybe it's even their life. I'm struggling with just having hope and I want to quit. And I can give answers to that. And maybe I'm not in that position to give them advice, but I can say, well, hey, I know what it's like to want to quit because I've been in this position. And although the situations and circumstances are totally different, the desire to want to quit is still there, and the tools that you use to get out of either one of those can be used. I think so. And so it was an effort for me to not be disqualified, not be unfit, and to do what I can do to be able to be there for other people when I have the opportunity to.
Yeah, you're right. The things that you learn through doing a 100-mile race are transferable into other aspects of your life. The things that you learn about yourself and how to persevere and how to work through, the low points, and they are transferable even into circumstances that have nothing to do with a physical challenge of running. So, yeah, I think that's a good reason. I want to talk a little bit about your training, because you trained really hard for this. I don't really train for these things, but I've been doing it quite a while, so I don't really have to, and still only very few people can beat me. But you trained very hard to do this, very dedicated to your training program. I'd like to kick it over to Chili, because Chili was your coach, and I just want to ask Chili kind of give us a broad overview of kind of his vision for this training block, and then I want to kick it back to you and ask you what you would have done, what you thought you did good, and what you wish you would have done. So, Chili, give us a broad overview of this training block.
Well, I'm not really going to do that, but I'm going to say what I want.
Go ahead.
First of all,
Yes.
I helped Blake with coming up with his training and everything, but I think I just want to say this, and you will probably vehemently disagree with what I'm about to say, and I don't care. But coaches are highly overrated as far as this kind of thing. Like, they get way too much praise. Like, Blake's success in the training and getting the race done, and that was because of him and the hard work he put in. I mean, I did my best to do what I could and come alongside him and help, but I just want to say that. So, as far as the goal with the training, it was to take Blake, who actually had a pretty good amount of base running fitness for somebody who doesn't run, but I don't know, once a week, twice a week before?
Yeah.
So the challenge with this training block was when he decided to do it after Cocodona in May, because he wanted to do the Georgia Jewel, which is September 15th. That only leaves you a good 3 months or 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months it is. But in my opinion, that's not that much time whenever you don't have like a huge base built up. You know what I mean? That's
like me, yeah.
Anyway, it's going to be hard to ignore those because you're really ticking me off. So, but that is a challenge. I mean, you have to, but I was fine. I was like, you know what? I mean, what are you supposed to do? Just say, nah, you better not do it this year. We'll train for a year and 4 months and do it next year. No, I mean, that's, there's really no sense in doing that. If you keep putting stuff off, you may never do it. So I thought it was fine because I knew it was certainly enough time. It just wasn't maybe as much as I would have liked, but that was the challenge with it. So I had to do some things or had to think of things in a way of like, well, we almost have to skip some of these steps because it's only 4 months, but I'm going to try to have Blake ride the line, push up right against the edge of overtraining, just so, because he has to get certain things in. He has to get certain long runs in. He has to experience certain things in training that would normally take a little bit more time to develop into. But in this case, we have to fit it into 4 months, while also giving him enough time to rest, because at the same time, even if you need to get all this stuff in, if you go over that line, it's not going to be good. You know, he may not even get to the start line because it may break down in the 4 months leading up to it, you know? So that was the challenge, but that was the goal of the training block, was to get in the big efforts and focus on those more so than just like a certain amount of weekly mileage. And I think my whole approach to all training is to focus on recovery more than I have before. So I tried to do that with Blake this time as well, even though we really pushed it because we had a shorter time frame. But the main goal was to not overtrain, but also push against that line more so than I normally would have because we had a short amount of time. and push against it in terms of getting in big efforts regularly, which Blake did. I mean, he hit every long run that we had, every single one. So,
yeah, he was a good coachee for sure. he was dedicated to that little piece of scrap paper you'd give him every. And so I get what you're saying about coaches are like they get maybe they get too much credit, but the thing that the thing that like you coaching Blake, the thing it does for him is he has so many other responsibilities in terms of raising his children, all the work he does here at 307 Project, his personal life. He has so many other responsibilities. It takes a big, like, mental burden. A coach takes a big mental burden off of you because Blake didn't have to sit around and think, well, how do I need to plan this week out? Like, what do I need to be doing? I need to research this, that, the other. It's just like you just get the thing from somebody who is credible, obviously. You get the thing and you say, okay, I just had to follow this. And you don't have to think about it. I think that's the biggest advantage to having a coach. And when I say a coach, I mean it has to be a credible, somebody that's trusted, somebody that's researched, somebody that's done it, and somebody that's good at coaching, because that's a skill in and of itself. And you get that thing and you just trust it, and you have the process laid out for you. So that takes a big tax off of your mind, I think.
You know, you and I were talking the other day when we left the range about a training plan that someone believes in will do better for them than than a plan that is actually more efficient and more
optimal.
More optimal for that person. But if they believe in a plan that's less optimal, they'll actually do better with that plan. And I agree with that.
Yeah, because they follow it more closely. Yeah.
Yeah,
and put more effort in.
It's just your mind believes it. I mean, I think that's 100% real.
And so, somebody who doesn't have, like Chad said, the knowledge and doesn't have time to research or want to research, like for me, you coach, I have full belief and trust in that what you were giving me was going to be the best thing that I could do. And maybe there's something better out there, maybe there's not. But for me, that was the perfect thing. And so if it was me doing it, I still would have trained, I still would have ran, but I would have been like, is this really what I need to be doing today?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have believed in the process and the plan like I did with you writing it. And so that's the biggest value for me, was actually having something that you trust and that you believe in and believe will work.
Yeah, and I mean, did we get everything perfect? No, but I definitely strived for that. And I think with all the circumstances that we had, and I did the best that I knew how to do. And was it perfect? Well, of course not. But I think hopefully we got really close, to what we could have done with that 4 months.
Well, we rode the line. We rode that line.
Yeah,
hard.
What was your longest run training for that 100-mile race?
25 miles. Yeah, 25. And then that was 25 one day and 20 the next.
Oh, dang. So in 2 days it was 45?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that hard, Blake?
Yeah, that was a tough weekend.
That's in hard terrain too. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand. One huge advantage that we have with the Georgia Jewel is we can go right out 10 minutes down the road and we can actually be on the course. So all of Blake's long run, well, most of them, the ones I did with him, were actually on segments of the course.
Yeah.
And that daggone course is hard, man.
It's kind of deceivingly hard.
It is deceivingly hard, yeah, because you look at the elevation profile and it's got some climbs and this and that, but the daggone rocks on that course are just, that whole last section of trail across that ridgeline, you're just running across that and you're like, somebody needs to come up here with a freaking bulldozer and just bulldoze this freaking trail and just do away with it. Because it's ridiculous, man.
Well, we'd run out at Barry, and Barry's not easy. I wouldn't say it's easy trails. I mean, they're not the hardest thing, but there's some climbs and there's some rocks, but it's wider. And we'd go out and run 10 miles, and, we could do it at a 9-minute pace. And I remember that first long run we did from the power lines to Snake Creek. And I remember telling Paul, I was like, well, all right. So I did about, maybe 9-minute pace at Barry. So I'm going to shoot for about 10 or 11-minute pace out here on this section. And we got out there, and it wasn't anywhere close to that. And that was when I realized, man, there's a lot dang harder running on just even just single track. Even if it's smooth single track, you can't jump out of the way of things. You can't, zigzag in the trail, and you just stuck to that, a 1.5 foot wide path. And it just, slows you way down.
That's freaking strode with rocks.
Yeah, and then, you add on top of that all of the rocks. And
I mean, I saw Blake in the midst of his highest weeks. I know he had a few times where he got a little sick because your immune system is being so taxed. He battled through a bunch of daggone shin splints.
I had shin splints up until, maybe a month, 4 or 6 weeks before the race.
That goes back to my point of, with the goal being to manage this, because I knew it would be like this in 4 months, but also to really build fitness with the workouts, get the long efforts in, be consistent, be specific, like run. He has the real advantage of that because he can get on the course. That's the specificity. But, like I said, if we had a year, we could have spent much more time easing into and managing those shin splints.
Yeah.
But like we had to, what are you going to do? Take off a month when you've only got 4 months to let them heal? And then when you start back, they'll just happen again?
Yeah.
Like we have to run through them, or else we're just not going to get it in. That was kind of part of that walking the line that it's difficult, but I think the way he came through it all is like, hey, we couldn't have done much better.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest disadvantage I had is that I built tons of fitness in that. And I truly believe if my just joints and bones and body and everything was conditioned for being out there that long, I think I could have, with my I don't know, this is just my opinion. I think with my fitness, I could have finished in the top 10.
Oh,
but
100%.
But it was just the pounding that my body wasn't used to. I told you a bunch of times coming across that ridge, I was like, man, I want to run so bad. I feel so good.
Yep.
Everywhere except, my knees is what ended up getting me. But
yeah, what is that? That just tells you your fitness is there, but the body, it's no, boy, not to give Chad the credit he's been looking for, but he's been running ultras for a long time. That's where the body comes in. So
yeah,
you could say you were fitter than Chad. Say you were.
Oh, I was.
Well,
Yes, you were.
It wouldn't have mattered, if you don't have that conditioning to where you could withstand that pounding.
Yeah, you're only as good as the weakest point of your body.
Exactly, and that just needs more time, But I think in the future, you recover, take a while from this, and then build back up again. You'll have this. This won't ever leave you.
Yeah.
That effort, that's burned into your physiology forever. That 31-hour effort. That's in you, and that won't make the next one easier, but it'll make it that's a part of you'll adapt to that, and that'll be a part of your physiology. So that's the advantage that some of these races will kill you. If you run 100 all the time, your performance will dip, and it's just too much on your body. But if you're going to try to do it and get better at it, you have to get some experience under you, and now you have that. So I think you couple that with another with your fitness, and that'll because I think you had the fitness to run 24 hours.
Yeah,
even on that course. I really do, but I don't think the whole body was ready to take that pounding.
No,
you
it
know,
wasn't. I didn't have. I haven't ran long enough.
right?
I've probably been running. The first 50 miler we did was maybe 4 years ago or something.
Yeah.
At Iron Mountain.
It was like 2018.
Yeah. So, I since then, but I haven't been consistent. I'll do maybe one a year. I'll train for a couple months, do a race, and then I don't really run anymore until I decide I want to do another race. And so, I do, like you said, I think, you kind of gain that, maybe you could say permanently from doing those races, but then I got to imagine, you lose some of it.
Oh, sure.
Or you don't continue to gain one of the two, or maybe both. And so, I think that was just the biggest thing that you can't say that we did wrong, but that we just didn't have time to do.
Yeah.
Was just to build the.
Well, I listeners, I feel like, and you guys tell us in YouTube if you think I'm right or not. I feel like these guys are talking too much, and I'm not talking enough.
Turning the camera off of you. I have a question.
No, I want to get back into.
I wanted to ask if when you had the shin splints pretty early on and they hung around, and then the hard weekend you put in with the 45 miles, did you let any of that creep into your head of like, what if these don't go away? Like, I only have this amount of time. Like, am I going to be able to do this? Like,
yeah, early, by the time we did that 45 miles, they weren't there anymore, because that was probably, that might have been.
That was in August.
Yeah, so that was pretty close. So, but I did just earlier that week, Chad and I ran a section or thing that was going to be a recovery run, and Chad always turns out just like
I hate
when he like does just
yes,
flying.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, this is a recovery run for me. And he's like, oh yeah, no, this is good. And then so he's trying to talk to me and stuff. And I actually felt good, but that was a little bit faster pace. And so I did have a little bit before that. But no, earlier on, I did even tell Chili one time, I was like, man, if we don't get rid of these things, then what are we going to do? And he said, well, you just got to remember, today is not race day. And so he said, when race day comes, we'll worry about it if it's there, but today's not race day. And so
Chili's so full of wisdom.
I said, Roger that, Chili. Yeah, whatever you want me to do, man.
So you would have continued to train up until 2 weeks out with shin splints, just with that mindset of like, today's not race day, so I'm going to keep training and prepping no matter what's happening.
Well, I was going to do whatever he told me. I had full faith in Chili that he had my best interest in mind. So,
Well,
I just did whatever runs he told me to do.
I believed we could get them gone, and we did.
Yeah.
I that's the thing, is like the process. It takes a while, and you get impatient. But I was. You definitely take risks. You don't know for a fact how stuff is going to turn out. But I was like, I think by the time we I felt really confident, but that in time it would work its way out. You almost can't not adapt to something after that long of having them. Like, they'll go away.
Yeah.
Run through them.
Yeah.
Most people, when stuff like that happens, they're like, I needed to rest.
Well, we couldn't do that.
Right.
If it'd taken weeks to get them fully gone, and then you just took weeks off, and then we were on a limited time frame anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this podcast has went off the rails. I had some good questions, but
how exactly has it went off the rails, Sad Sack? What's wrong?
Tell him, Chili. Get him.
You look like the beef jerky Jack Links guy, the Sasquatch.
He does.
Oh, no, that's all good stuff, man. Yeah, training, check. That's how you train for a race, listeners. Now you have everything you need to know. You have no excuses. Chili's not for hire as a trainer unless you've got $100,000 a month. He just went up on his price.
But he's not taking clients.
I heard he'll take one at $100,000 a month.
No.
That's his price,
No?
but he's not taking clients.
I'm fully retired. That is my price, but I'm also not available.
Oh, well, never mind. He's not available, period. So you guys are all screwed. You might not make it.
People keep asking. It's going to be $1 million.
Let's get into the story of the race, because on race morning, I was racing too, so I was in my little, angry bubble. I'm not going to live very long, by the way. We were watching this movie last night about these people who live over 100.
Blue zones.
And this lady was
Okinawa.
like, yeah, in Okinawa, this lady was like, the key to living a long time is just don't get angry and just laugh and
do things for others.
Well, you know what the key to live long is your new race strategy that you've uncovered is no highs and lows, steady.
Yeah.
Like you don't get too mad, you don't get too, you got to be real steady, and you ain't that, Bubba.
Yeah, so I was in my little bubble
Volatile.
doing my
Yes, he
thing
is.
because I was getting ready to race too, so I didn't get a lot of time to talk to you on there at the start line, Blake. I think I just came up to you and shook your hand and said something silly like get after it or something, something lame. And so how are you feeling standing on the start line, knowing what was ahead of you? Were you amped up? Were you nervous? Were you calm? What were you feeling?
Oh, I think I was pretty calm. The days, well, even probably a week up to the race, and even still today, I've got this dang congestion in my
Yeah,
chest.
he's freaking sick.
And
Nobody's mentioned that.
so I was,
Ran sick.
I was pretty mad, that here, this has been going on for a week now, coughing up this daggone phlegm crap and, rattling in my chest and all of that. And I thought, well, here I've trained for 4 months and all, it's came down to the day and here now I've got this. And I, had a little bit, lost my voice that day. And so if anything, I was a little bit pissed off that had happened. Because I didn't know that if I would even be able to do it with that because it was affecting my breathing, and then I knew it would affect my heart rate, and would I even be able to move fast enough to even do it in the cutoff time, having that. And so that's really all I was thinking about. I wasn't, there wasn't much else I was really thinking about, so maybe that was a good thing or bad thing, I don't know. Maybe I would have been more nervous and amped up if that wasn't the case, but that was really all I was thinking about was, is this going to prevent me from doing what I've trained up to this point to do? Mm-hmm. And certainly it hindered me, but it didn't keep me from finishing.
Yeah. Tip for you guys listening to the podcast, if you don't want to get sick a lot, don't have kids. Yep. All right? That's the key to not getting sick a lot.
They bring home a lot of sickness for sure.
They're always digging around in poop and
licking doorknobs.
Yeah.
Digging around in poop.
So that's the key.
Says the guy that rolls around in goat crap.
Goat crap is just grass, man.
Okay. Sterile.
Well, let's talk through that first section, basically from the start line to Dry Creek, which is kind of the first big pull. 20, I don't know how
18.
long it is. No, that's
35.
35.
Oh, I'm sorry, to Dry
Creek. So that's the first 35 miles. So after I took off, I thought you were going to run with me for a while, but I never even saw you.
Why'd you think that?
I just figured we were going to run together for a little while.
I thought you was going to run with me, and I never saw you.
Well, I was in the right spot. You were in the wrong spot.
Yeah, why didn't you fall back with me, man?
Isn't that the story of everybody's life that's in Chad's life?
Yeah.
He was in the right spot and we were in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
That's always the story.
Speaking of the best bacon, look, I know y'all.
What?
I know y'all
No.
can't find good bacon if you're like me, and I eat a lot of bacon.
Talk about getting sidetracked.
The
I know,
best
right?
bacon out there is that Rite Brothers bacon. It's the best
Yeah,
grocery
it's
store
pretty good.
bacon you
It's
can
got
get.
a bunch of nitrates in
I was
it.
about to say.
Yeah,
it's
but I'm
heavily
going to tell you, it
processed.
cooks up good. It tastes good. Thank you, whoever just made that order. Why ain't y'all ordering freaking T-shirts,
Baby,
man?
stay on track. Stay on. Nobody cares about bacon. We're
It's-
talking about Blake's race.
So yeah, that first section.
Yeah, I want to talk through that first section.
Yeah, Chad, he was up front. I don't know why he thought I was going to run with him. I was kind of being a little bit conservative. And so, yeah, wasn't all the way up to Stover through the rock garden. I felt really good. I was hacking up some stuff as we kind of along that road section. I ran a little bit with Darren Jansen and just some other people that were with 307, and they say, "Are you part of Chad's gang?" And I say, "Yeah, I follow him a little bit." Oh God! And
part of my crew, man.
He cut his hair.
I just let on. Nobody knew who I was out there.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But so I talked with some people there at the beginning, and I was just kind of being.
So you weren't by yourself?
No,
that's good.
I mean, I stayed. Well, maybe I was a little bit toward the front of the middle of the pack for a little bit, but
well, you finished middle of the pack.
Yeah,
yeah.
I felt really good. I mean, through that section, coming into Snake Creek would be the first like big stop point, and I covered that faster than I thought I would. I was expecting maybe 4.5 or 5 hours to get there, and I think I got there 4 hours and 15 minutes, or
right over 4. It was perfect.
Yeah, so I mean, I felt good. Came into there. That stop was quick.
Were you walking all the uphills and stuff?
If it was steep, yeah. But any of the minor ones I would run, and I was just trying to keep my heart rate down. It was up high starting out, and I think that was probably just from some of I probably was just hyped up a little bit at the beginning until I get going.
What were you trying to keep your heart rate at?
Well, I mean, there was really no specific number, but I certainly didn't want it to be 170. I mean, ideally, I was trying to keep it under 150. That was kind of my goal. But, you know, on a climb or something like that, it's just going to go up, and I didn't care. But I didn't want a long, sustained effort of like, oh, man, now it's 160, 170. And so
I ran the first 3 hours at 176.
Did you?
Yeah. All right.
You are tough.
Tell him, Blake.
Wow.
Yeah,
at your age?
At no faster than that was, that's probably means you didn't have much fitness then.
Wow.
I came into Snake Creek at
sure did hold it pretty good.
I came into Snake Creek at like 3 hours or something, and all I remember is David Miller saying, "What a time!"
You held it well. I mean,
so that was the first. That was the first time you got to see your people. Was at Snake Creek? That's a long pull. Did that give you a little boost or anything?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I didn't really feel like I felt really good coming into Snake Creek. I didn't feel like I overdid it or underdid it. I mean, I was happy with that, and I thought it was sustainable. And yeah, we just got a little food there. Didn't do much there. Tightened up my shoes a little bit. We were in and out of there, and maybe no more than 5 minutes, I wouldn't think.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, it was less than that. That was a good stop.
And so, yeah, I felt good. I left there.
Climb.
Yep, got the climb back up onto the ridge, and then you got that long downhill, you know, all the way down into the pocket, basically, once you get up on that ridge.
Well, after you go follow the ridge for a couple of miles.
Bit.
Yeah.
And I ran with a couple folks there. They wanted to talk about sports, and I told them how dumb sports were and bad idea to watch them. And
how you gonna be out running 100-miler? Thank you for that order. How you gonna be out running 100-miler talking about sports?
They kept tripping and falling. I think there's two people behind me. I think both of them tripped like 3 times coming and actually hit the ground.
Well, Blake looks like a guy that likes sports.
Yeah.
I mean,
since he cut his hair.
Well, yeah, it's just
true.
One of those guys I was running with. He said, I got to ask you, I know you said you was from Rome. You know that Chad fella?
No
I said,
way.
yeah, I know him a little bit. And so, yeah, he had watched the documentary. And so we kind of talked, and we were back. That guy's name was Corey.
You never told him?
Yeah, I ended up telling him.
Okay.
And we were back and forth a lot. But I felt, I felt good, went into the pocket. And then when I hit the pocket, talking to that guy, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, and I got my heart rate up, and so my stomach started bothering me a little bit right there. Not too bad, but then that climb, it kind of got a little bit worse, and that section from the pocket to Dry Creek was one of the probably lows. I'd say there's 2 lows. They were both on that section, one going out and one coming back.
Yeah, because that stinking climb up from the pocket to the top of John's Mountain is ugly as crap, man.
Yeah, it's rough.
When I got there, all I told myself was, okay, don't get in no hurry going up this joker because this is the hardest climb on the whole course.
And that's a course redesign, isn't it?
No.
From 2019 it is.
It may be from 2019.
Yeah, I found that
most
interesting.
of us that run forget about 2019 because we're doing stuff now.
Well, that's all good and well, but I just wanted to know if it was a course redesign.
Yeah, that's a hard climb up through there.
Anyway.
And no crew at Pocket
No, not going out.
Going out. So
Yeah, so that
your darn stomach started bothering you, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. It wasn't terrible, but I mean, I was noticing that I didn't want to eat, and I'd still eat some, but not probably as much as I should have been at that point. But I got something from the aid station, and just
What'd you get?
They had
Bananas.
I think I ended up getting a banana up there.
I love when the aid station, when you're running up front and the aid you come into an aid station, they're like, we got hot quesadillas and hot dogs, and I'm like, do you realize I'm running fast in this race? Like, I'm one of the first people that's come through here. I don't want a freaking quesadilla, man.
Yeah.
Just give me a banana. All right.
Yep.
God bless aid station workers. I love
think
them.
the guy that beat you ate quesadillas. I'm just saying.
Well, it's not always advisable.
Well, it worked for him, didn't it? 2 hours ahead of you.
Okay. You get up to John's Mountain. You get you a little snack there.
Yeah, I got me a banana. I come in. They said, I see you 3-7 hat. You know that Chad fella?
Oh my God.
God. Every time somebody asks you that, from now on, you should be like, yeah, he's a straight freaking turd, man.
Yeah, I'm about to burn this hat.
Tell him you got the hat at Goodwill. You don't know nothing about.
Yeah,
You
what
never
you
heard
talking
of it.
about?
And then you got that nice downhill, plumb down into Dry Creek.
Yeah. Yep. I ran all of that. One of my IT bands started bothering me a little bit on there, and it kind of went away. But that section I had, it was getting dark then. It wasn't dark until just before I got into Dry Creek. You had to use my headlamp, but that chest congestion I started having started coming back. You know how it does it, and your body does at night. And so I got to kind of wheezing coming down through there, and so that, I was like, well, here we go with this crap again. And then my IT band was bothering me a little bit, and my stomach was still bothering me because, you got the climb, your heart rate gets up if you're pushing hard. And for me, it seems like when my heart rate goes up, I can kind of pair that with just stomach distress. And then you've got the downhill, and maybe your heart rate comes down a little bit, but you've got all the bouncing. So all of that kind of came up along that section. Then it, starts to get dark. You cross the creek, you got wet feet and crap. And
I kept my feet dry across that.
What'd you do?
I went to the left right there and just went across those little stones. Yeah.
Well, I did, but I didn't go too far. My feet didn't stay dry.
Yeah,
no.
I kept my feet dry, but, I just rode TNGA and stuff. I scouted all that out.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well, I saw it when we did the route course, but
yeah.
I didn't really care. I mean, whatever.
Well, you talk about all these things that you're thinking about while you're running, like, oh, my stomach's doing this, my leg's doing this, this and this and this, right? And it was funny to me because people don't understand you got a lot going on when you're running.
Yeah.
And part of running well is paying attention to literally everything that you have to pay attention to. So I ran the whole race by myself unless I had a pacer with me. I didn't ever run with another runner and get to just have time to chit chat and get lost in conversation, which is fun. It passes time, but a lot of times things can happen when you get lost in conversation with people that you stop paying attention to the things you need to pay attention to. And when I have a pacer, I don't talk to my pacer.
Yeah.
Do I, Biscuit?
Unless you're being rude and demanding things or.
Yeah, unless I need them to do something, I don't talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time Brooke asked me, what do you think about when you're out here doing this? And I'm like,
that was 2:00 in the morning.
yeah. And I'm just completely silent. But there's 100 things running through my mind. I'm okay, how's my foot feel? When's the last time I ate? What did I eat? What am I about to eat? When's the last time I drank? How's my stomach feel? Is my posture right? Is my stride right? Paying attention to the trail. There's 100 things that you're thinking about. Your mind never just has the chance to turn off if you're doing it right.
Chili, are you like that? Sorry, Blake.
Do what?
Do you do that? Like you don't daydream or drift off mentally at all while you're running for 24 hours?
Not while he's racing.
I don't
He doesn't remember. It's been so long.
I mean, yeah, what do I think about when I'm racing? I mean, just I'm thinking about what's going to get me to the finish as fast as possible.
Do you do what he's saying? Like that seems...
No, he's all worried about how he feels. It's a bunch of BS. No, I don't do that. He's all concerned about how
I'm
he
worried
feels.
about my systems.
Yeah. No, I don't do that. No.
Yeah,
Okay.
he don't freaking know. And then you get into Dry Creek. Dry Creek's a pretty big milestone because you know once you get into Dry Creek, you've got some nice trail down there and you got to do some loops. But once you knock that out, then you're going back home.
Well, I'd never been in Dry Creek we'd been through it, but I'd never been on any of those. So I didn't know really even what to expect there. But I remember passing you as I was coming into Dry Creek, and I was about out of everything. I still had some gels, which I didn't really like eating at that point. But it's about out of water and everything. And I said, dang, how much further is it down this road? And I think you told me it's about 1.5 miles. And you said there's a lot of good running on that first loop, so don't burn yourself out. And then you just rolled on by.
No, I didn't. I stopped what I was doing, asked you if you needed anything. I had some extra stuff on me, and I was like, do you need anything?
You didn't say any of that.
Oh, dang, I thought I did.
No, I wouldn't have taken it from you anyway.
I must have said that in my head then.
Yeah. I mean, I was good enough that I could make it, but I was just thinking. I knew it was close, but in my mind, I wanted to know how much further because of all, I knew the whole route except that section. When you cross the creek to Dry Creek and then in Dry Creek, I didn't know anything about that. And so I like to know what is ahead. I mean, I can take it mile by mile. That's fine. But I like to know, all right, here's the next stopping point, and it's this much further, and I have this much more to go. And if that becomes too much for me, then I'll say, all right, well, let's get to this point on this trail where I know where I'm going. So
I told you 1.5 miles. I think it was more like 1.25 miles.
Yeah, I mean, you were pretty close when I got there. I mean, I think you did tell me a little further, which is good. It's better.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah. So
I think you just hit on something that I thought about while I was running with him at night. Anytime I spoke about anything, he would get angry because he would be like, I don't know, I'm in this moment only. Like I couldn't. And I was thinking, because I work like you, like I need something coming up to kind of set my mind to, and like I have to get here. Whereas he doesn't want any of that.
Well, she was talking about how cozy it was going to be when we get in bed on Monday night.
I said,
because the temperature. She was like, it's going to be 57 degrees Monday night. Boy, it's going to be cozy in the bed. I'm like, are you freaking seriously saying this right now?
if that can derail your race, you got bigger problems than
I agree with that too.
Yeah, if that comment can derail you. He got mad. He said, I'm about to fire you if you don't stop talking. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's a weak mind, man.
But I
think that he does have something to look forward to more than he lets on, because at Cocodona he would get mad when the aid station was a little bit further than what someone had told him, and he's like, where's this freaking aid station at? You said it was 1.5 miles, and here we're 1.6 miles.
So it's not, you're not staying present and patient and deliberate when you pick a point that you know is coming up and you kind of do a little countdown to stay motivated. That's okay. That doesn't go against what you teach. It's just a different personality type. And
it's just how.
Thank you for that order, by the way.
I think it's how far you need to break it down. Like,
right.
If it gets so hard that you can't finish that Dry Creek loop and within 6 miles or whatever you're going to be back to the aid station, well, then for me, I was just like, all right, well, then just get to 3 miles, and then we'll see if you need to stop and do something and whatever you need to do to get the next 3 miles. I mean, I never got to that point, but that was just my plan was to, I wanted to go aid station to aid station. And when I got there, I'd reassess how everything felt, do what I needed to do, and then I'd go on another loop. And I just thought, well, if that becomes too much, then I'll just break it down, within that section. If I need to stop halfway and do whatever, change my shoe, not get rocks out, whatever, then I will. But I don't think that goes against staying present.
And that's what you did too, Boo. You were between aid stations. You were each. Why are you looking at me like that? What did I do?
How'd you end up attacking Dry Creek?
Well, the first 2 loops were, I come into Dry Creek, and that was kind of a low point, but I get there, I change my shoes, I get a bunch of stuff, and I go out, and I feel good on the first loop, and I'm just running anything that's flat. If it's remotely uphill, I'm walking, and then, downhill, I'm obviously running, and that was just kind of my plan throughout all of that, and I thought I was doing really bad and moving really slow, and Chili kept saying, "No, man, you're moving good. That's a good time."
It was good. Yeah.
It was taking me maybe an hour and a half for each loop.
Yeah, I think you just didn't know what to expect down there. But those were, especially the loops around Dry Creek were good.
Because a lot of people get in Dry Creek, and by the time they get there, they're reduced to walking only.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people I passed in Dry Creek that were walking a downhill with trekking poles.
No, the loops there, I was afraid it was getting in your head because I wasn't just telling you that to be like, oh, well, these are bad, but I don't want him to know that. Yeah. No, they were actually good. And I was like, if he keeps thinking they're bad, that's going to hurt him. Because
no, when you said that, I thought, well, okay, because you're right. I didn't know what to expect or what to think my time should be. I remember thinking, when I came in, I was thinking about all the stuff I had, and I was thinking, well, I need to tell Chili about all this stuff. And then I just thought, well, he's not going to freaking care. He's just going to say, all right, we'll just manage it and keep going. And so, I just thought, well, in these loops, if he says, this is good, then it's good. And I kind of got into my groove down there. Mm-hmm. It was nice to run the loop, get to go there with your crew. They had everything out,
including a pallet for you to lay down on.
Yeah, I laid down, put my feet up. So what I would do, I'd run.
That was
loop.
A mistake.
That
was the mistake we made.
What?
You shouldn't have laid. You probably shouldn't have laid.
I wasn't there real long though, was I?
No, they never were that long. But it was just the fact that you laid down. I think.
I've got that on video.
Well, see, the problem was Blake was getting sleepy.
Sleepy Blake.
He didn't look sleepy to me.
Well,
but I wasn't there the last.
He was
loop
whether he looked it or not. I think he was sleepy, and you actually don't want to lay down when you're sleepy because it makes you more.
Yeah.
I think that was probably
should have hit that darn caffeine, boy.
Well, the gels weren't sitting real well.
Caffeine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, I didn't hit any caffeine.
Man, you got to use that caffeine.
He doesn't need that crutch.
But, I thought, well, why stand when you can sit? And then I thought, gosh, why sit when you can lay down? And then I thought,
not a bad
gosh,
thought.
I'll just lay down and put my feet up because, I've been on them for a while. And so nobody told me to, and the pallet wasn't even there for me. I think, well, maybe it was. I don't know. It wasn't laid out at first, but I remember running on the loop and I thought, when I get back, I need to put my dang feet up. I don't know why I thought that. I
wanted to.
I did a lot of laying down during Cocodona myself.
That may have been where I got it from.
That's probably where you got it from. But anything that happened during Cocodona, don't do it.
I just remember thinking, I need to put when I ran in those normal shoes, they got a lot less cushion, and my feet started hurting after muscularly hurting after running in those, and I thought, man, I need to put my dang feet up. And, it probably was just irrational thinking at that point. But I just got into the groove of doing that. So I'd come in, put my feet up. I'd eat avocado toast, cantaloupe, watermelon. Alex came out and brought that coconut water, which hit the spot, man.
Brought me a jar, too. That was good.
Yeah,
he showed up from Florida.
Yeah.
He's showed up.
He's the best in the business.
Alex.
This joker comes at me out of the dark night with a mason jar. And I didn't know who it was. And
I know.
I thought it was some cat trying to give me moonshine. I literally thought it was because it was clear in a mason jar. And I thought, this joker's handing me a jar of moonshine? I was about to cuss this joker out, son. Then I realized who
it was. Yeah, and I was thinking, probably going to want to take that.
Then I was like, give me that.
Yeah.
I drank the whole freaking jar down in like 2 gulps.
Yeah, I had me a coconut too.
Chili had his first real coconut with a straw.
Dang, that's
way
good.
better than that stuff in the store. I don't drink that stuff in the store, but that stuff he's got is good.
He's the best in the business.
That's Coco Rico Farms.
So I passed you on your second loop, and I was on my 4th loop.
Yeah, and I was
a little concerned about you.
Yeah, I was over it at that point because like you're
over
out
what,
there,
Dry Creek or the race.
Just run. I was just tired of running. I was like, this.
Well, your first half was good, and then I think you got over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little concerned about you at that point.
I was just like, my body was still fine, but I was just battling my mind. Like, I was getting, and I knew it. I remember thinking, I'm just being impatient. You just need to do what you know will get you across the finish line. Just do what you know will get you there until it gets you there. And don't worry about how long it takes. Don't worry about what might come up or how much you've done or how much is left. If you know that you need to eat this often, drink this often, and move this fast, like you know those things will get you across the finish line. So just do them until you get across the finish line. And that's ultimately where I settled. And, when you passed me, you said, how you liking it so far?
That's what he said, yeah.
And I was like, I just didn't say anything. I didn't say anything at all. And he was like, well, just be patient, man. Remember what you told me at Cocodona. And just gave me a little dose of my own medicine, which did me good. And then, as he kind of disappeared into the night.
I was in hog heaven seeing you suffer down there.
Yeah, but, that was good stuff you told me. And you hollered out, I'm proud of you. And then, so that was like really just kind of people bring me, they do affect my mood. Like when I'm around people, and it's not, it can't just be encouragement or just silly words that people say, but something coming from somebody
like that you got this.
That doesn't work. But from somebody that you respect or whatever, like for you to say, hey, I'm proud of you. That I was like, well, dang, all right, I got to keep going. I got to do good, or as good as I can do. And then as the hours kind of went on, I just kept thinking about, battling in my mind a little bit with that. And that's really what I boiled it down to, is what I just said, is that, like, I know what I need to do, and I know how I need to do it, and how often. I've got all that mapped out through training. I've got a watch to keep my pace and my time and reminders to eat and drink. And so even when you don't want to do it, just do it, because you know the result it will yield. And if you don't do it, then you're not going to get it. And so you just, nothing else matter. Nothing doesn't matter. As long as you do those things, just do them until they yield the result that you want, or until you can't do them anymore. And then you can reassess. But that's kind of where I landed in Dry Creek. I kind of went through all that in my mind, and that's kind of where I landed. And then I picked up Paul as a pacer on the 3rd lap, and it was nice to have somebody there to talk to. Just, I told Paul, I said, just, what if you want to talk. I may not answer you. That's fine. Just move on to the next thing you want to say. If I don't answer you, I'll just listen. If I don't want to listen, I won't listen. But it was nice to have him there to talk. And, Paul's always sharing things that are truth, that are scripture. And so it does feed me in a way. And so I was glad to pick him up. And then Jen paced me on the 2nd lap. And it was good just to have people there to run with, knowing that somebody's behind you.
Mm-hmm. Big Jen. Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pop-Tart.
Yep. Pop-Tart's a good pacer.
Yeah. Yeah, she is.
So you finally get all them stinking loops done, man. And then you're just headed home. How'd you feel when you got all them loops done? Was it a sense of like, all right, now I got this?
No, it wasn't. At that point, I'd done set in my mind that I wasn't going to think too far ahead or what's coming up or what's going on. I at that point I had just set my mind to eat, drink, move at this pace or as fast as you could move. So I wasn't even, I mean, I was thinking to the next aid station, but that would be the furthest that I thought. In Dry Creek for a little bit, I got to thinking about Snake Creek, Stover, Power, I was thinking that far ahead, and it was just way too far. And so, no, I didn't think, I got this. I just thought, keep eating.
You're a fool if you leave Dry Creek and you think I got this. People that run that particular race, they get down into Dry Creek and they get into all them nice little flowy loops, and they very soon forget what is between them and the finish line, when they leave there. And I think a lot of people hurt themselves down in Dry Creek.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember about Dry Creek was one time I was standing there and Chili said, "What are you doing, man?"
This race? He did that?
Yeah.
What?
That's all I remember. I don't know why he said that, but
well,
it worked.
Probably Chili and I left Dry Creek there, and I got my trekking poles, and we passed old Justin Hamilton's wife run her van off in a mud hole.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Man, wrecked it in there, busted the oil pan and stuff, and I showed that to him because I'd been seeing it. I said, well, maybe it's hers, but it ended up being hers. She wrecked that thing bad, man.
Yeah, it's a bad hole.
Yeah, especially for a minivan. Yeah. But
it's not funny.
We passed that thing, and we kind of got in Chili. We were still running at that point, occasionally, and Chili was just like, just run when you can, walk when you can't. And he's like, when we get across that creek, we're gonna put a good pace going up that hill. And I was like, all right, yeah, I feel fine. So we did. We put down pretty good pace going up that hill.
Climbing well.
Hold on. Did y'all see the freaking Hills Have Eyes people that were camped at the daggone creek crossing?
I call it, that's the wrong turn, people, not the Hills Have,
That was ungodly. I run past these people at freaking the middle, not even the middle of the night, 2 or 3 in the morning. And they're sitting in their cars with the dome light on, just staring at each other. Got freaking 2 teeth between the 5 of them. Just like,
well, they been asleep when we come by.
Well, they were up when I came by. And these people look like something straight crawled out from under a daggone rock, man. Like half a daggone, I don't know, hermaphrodites or something.
They had set up a hermitage back there, hadn't they?
These jokers look like a hermaphrodite.
What? Do you even know what a hermaphrodite is?
No, he doesn't. I'm still fighting that bronchitis.
So I just had to make mention of those people in case they ever listen to the podcast.
Yeah, we passed those scallywags. They was laid back in their van with their hermitage set up across the road from them. And I told Chili, what a freaking night to be camping out here.
Oh, it's terrible. You shine your headlamp in there. And
I'm sure they knew the race was going on because they looked like runners.
No, Blake. I'm sure they did not know the race was going on. These people probably don't have an internet. They probably don't have anything.
Yeah.
There's some of the poorest people in that county I've ever seen in my life. I guess it's drugs. That make them poor. But
well, we climbed that hill.
Jeez. And we did what we set out to do.
Well, there we did. Until we got to the top of that hill, son.
Did you go into into the vortex? You talking about going into the vortex?
That's First of all, that's the wormhole, and that ain't the only wormhole either, by the way.
So are you talking about going into the wormhole right here?
Well, we're still on the fire road. But, it's a pretty long little climb out of the
douche grade climb, too. Yeah.
But we kind of powered up it, and I got to the top, and the old wrecking ball was waiting for me at the top. And as soon as I topped the hill, it come, and it just hit me just all of a sudden.
Dang.
Just, boom. I told Chili, I said, dang, man, I think that climb took it out. It felt like I'd lost all my energy. I felt like I was just going to fall asleep.
He fell asleep walking.
I should have told you he was going to do that to you. If he paces you, if Chili paces you, he's going to blow you out.
Well,
at some point.
Oh, bull crap.
And,
You're one to
I
talk.
probably felt good because I hadn't done that, but I had my poles too.
Bull crap.
And so, if you're climbing without poles, you're not using I guess, this is my theory. I think that having those poles, I exerted a lot more energy because I was using my upper body to pull along my lower body.
We were just moving faster.
And yeah.
And it was also the wee hours of the morning, wasn't it?
I'm telling you, he got sleepy in Dry Creek, and then this is like, I don't know, 4 a.m, and he was ready to daggum bed down.
So what happened there?
Well, we kept going. Kind of worked our way down that trail. We saw Big Copperhead on Copperhead Road.
Yeah.
I saw a live one?
Yeah. We turn up onto the trail. And
into the wormhole.
Yep.
Because it still climbs.
Oh, yeah.
You don't reach the top of that climb until you get to the top of John's Mountain.
Yeah.
Well, I told Blake out there on the course that he was going to forget all of that section. And you're skipping some critical points.
Oh,
do you remember what you told me?
Well, but we turned onto the trail, and that's where it all began. And
it began before that, but
Chili doesn't know.
I got to pee while Chili tells this. Tell it, Chili.
Well, no, say what you were saying, Blake.
Well, I was going to say, Chili doesn't know my tricks about how I will ask my pacers and fellow runners, hey, bud, I need to stop for a minute. And because on Iron Mountain, I did that to Chad, and he'd be like, no, man, you can't stop. And I told him one time on Iron Mountain, I said, look, man, I got to tie my shoe. And he's like, all right. But I had bungee laces. And I just bent over and act like I was doing something with my shoe. And he was like, man, you don't even have shoelaces. What do you do? And I was like, I just had to kind of tighten it up a little bit. And so Chili doesn't know about those tricks. And
well, I knew what you were doing.
He knew what was going on.
The first time you said you were going to stop, you just did it without asking me, and then I looked back and you were stopped there, and I said, "What's wrong, man?" And you just didn't answer me. So I was like, "Well, okay." I was like, "We got to move, man." You said, "What do you think about sitting down?"
You said that.
I pulled a good trick on him, and I thought, I bet Chili would let me stop if I said I was going to eat something. And so I pulled out of jail, and I knew I wasn't going to eat much of it, but I said, look, I'm going to sit down for a minute, Chili, and I'm going to try. I can eat better if I sit down. And he said, what? I said, yeah, and I just did it anyways till I wasn't waiting on him to tell me nothing. I just sat down, and I just held that gel up to my mouth and acted like I was eating out of it. And I might have got a little bit out. And I said, nope, that ain't working good. And he said, well, look, we got to go. So we got up and went on. And
he ain't going to let you stop. Thank you for that order, by the way. He ain't going to let you stop. That sucker drugged me all the way across the state of Arizona. Wouldn't let me stop for nothing.
Well, he did the same to me. I remember, and I'm going to let Chili tell it after I say this because he'll remember a lot more. All I remember is just faintly seeing the trail, and I could everything was a blur. I could just faintly see the trail, and I remember just putting my feet, I'd just see them pushing out in front of me, and I thought, man, I hope I don't trip over something because I'm just throwing my foot out there and stiffening my leg. And then I'd do the next one. And we just did that up until we got to the gravel road, but I'm sure he's got a lot more to say.
You couldn't see because you were tired, like sleepy?
I might have fell asleep.
He did. And what he started asking me was, what do you think about sitting down? And I remember I paused for a second. I was like,
let me think about that.
Like, what do I think about it? I think you don't need to. And then he was like, and then I kind of made a joke with him that he did not think was funny. I was like, well, if you're going to sit down, we might as well just take an hour nap. And he looked at me like, don't you freaking tease me with that. Because he knew I wouldn't let him do it, but I was just joking. And he looked mad. I was like, oh, we can sleep. We'll sleep we'll get into this meadow right here and just sleep for an hour. And he was just like, what? And then he started really pressing the sit down thing. That's where he did his trick with the gel and everything. And I started making him move, and that kind of made him mad. So as we walked, it wasn't but 30 seconds after we got going, after he sat down for a second, he goes, I think he'll deny saying this, but I remember it plain as day. He looked at me and he said, I was trying to sit down back there to die, Chili. Have you not ever seen somebody lay down to die? I was trying to lay down and die, Chili.
Well, you were feeling rough, weren't you?
And you wouldn't let me.
Yeah, I don't remember saying that, but
He sure did.
I don't remember much.
I thought he would forget this whole section. He looked at me and he was like, I was trying to lay down and die, Chili.
Trying to bed down and die.
He was like, you don't stop a man from laying down and die.
Darn, son, you was hard up there, huh?
I mean, yeah, that's the tiredest I've ever been. I mean, I guess, your body will do whatever you tell it to do, and I just kept on moving. But truly, I don't remember much, and I just remember everything just being a real blur. And then Brogan come up behind me. He snuck right up behind me, and I don't know how he caught me. I was moving so fast, and he startled me, and I like to fell over on him.
Gosh, yeah, dude.
That?
You whipped around, and how did you catch yourself? I mean, you fell, but you...
Agile.
Yeah. Dang, man. He whipped around real fast and started stumbling down that dang, and about fell off the side of the mountain. And I don't know how he caught himself, but... I think you were in like a trance then,
Yeah.
I mean.
But that kind of woke me up out of my slumber, him startling me like that. And that was right before sunrise.
Yep.
And then we popped out on the gravel road there, and it was getting daylight. And you remember that dang sun?
It was one of the craziest skies I've ever seen.
I've never seen the sun. I mean, it was
did it
like,
look like?
fire red, like
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
orange, red, like...
I saw that,
craziest
but I was
sun.
almost about to finish when I saw it. Dang, y'all were way back there at sunrise?
Yeah, we
Holy
was
crap.
on John's Mountain.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like he was right near the condition that I was in when me and you took our death march through Prescott at sunrise. Chili?
Yeah, you fell asleep walking, and Blake pretty much did. I mean, you really did, because I heard you scrape the ground. You went... and I was like, there he went. But Blake pretty much held it together for the most part, but he was that sleepy. Yeah, I mean, he was, right before it's the same exact time of day. That's when that's going to happen. Right before the sun comes up, it gets real cold.
Yeah.
The rhythm of everything, you're really sleepy. But then what's funny is once the sun comes up, light is going to wake you up. I mean, it does just kind of, but the hormones start changing, and your brain chemicals, it wakes you up. But even if you're still tired, or sleepy or whatever. But
So it sounds like the wormhole lived up to its nickname.
Yeah, both ways, man. Going out and coming back, that was probably my worst section.
Dang. How'd you like that little jaunt up the gravel road to the summit there?
I mean, I
was
loved
good.
the uphills. The whole time I could climb.
yep.
I mean,
whole
all
time.
the way up to the very end, I could climb. Wasn't no big deal.
So you got up there, had you come back alive by the time you got up there?
Yeah, I think I got some food.
That was a high leaving the Johns Mountain aid station.
Yeah.
For sure.
They had some good bagel stuff, and it was just warm food, and I kind of milked it as we
we
moved on.
I ate some egg and bagel stuff up there, and it made me crap. When we were going down Johns Mountain, I peeled off the trail, and some fella caught me with my pants down.
Yeah.
Oh, he sure did.
Did you have your whispering eye facing him?
I just quickly wrapped things up and was like, how's it going, man? And
I
then
took a bunch of craps in Dry Creek.
Did you?
Took 3
Okay,
craps.
I remember that.
Let's not get sidetracked on our craps. So you...
Hey, man,
Your
we're telling
crap-
the story.
Your crap is what let Justin Hamilton pass you.
So coming down off of Johns Mountain, by this point, are you to this point now that you can't go downhill like you was?
It started hurting then. You remember me going down them steps?
That was kind of a high leaving Johns Mountain, like he had gotten back to life, coming out of that sleeping spell. But then if that had been more up and flat, we could have started moving there. But it's down and
Bad down.
And then I mean that's where it started moving really slow, like just that. I mean that section on the back, that side of Johns Mountain is rough as a cob, dude.
Yeah, that's a rough downhill.
Rough as a tick.
I was coming down that hill in the middle of the night, and I see a headlamp way down below me, and this guy starts screaming and hollering and yelling, and I just keep running because I knew where he was at. I knew I was going to wrap around down there to him, and I got down there to him, and here's this feller that had been going back and forth with me all day.
He's a racer?
He's a racer. He's standing in the trail, and he's lost. He's like, "Where's the trail?
Well, that's weird.
I'm lost." I'm like, "How, dude? You're on the trail," and he can't figure it out. And then he starts saying his headlamp's dying, and I'm like, "Well, dude, you don't have a spare battery or a spare headlamp?" No.
Is this the guy that ended up quitting?
No,
Okay.
No, this is the little guy.
Okay.
The little kind of skinny looking guy. But yeah, he's standing in the trail, lost, he claims his headlamp's dying, but it's still working.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just on the dim setting and all. And I'm like, this is the perfect example of people who want to come, who are good at running, and think that it's a good idea to come and do a 100-mile mountain ultra trail race. If you are just good at running, you are not good enough to come and do a mountain trail race. You got to have some daggone skills about you in the woods. You got to have at least a little bit of sense of how to, like, follow a trail even when it gets a little tricky. Like, you got to have a little bit of sense about you to know that when you're running through the night, if your headlamp dies, you are screwed. And so, therefore, maybe you should keep some extra batteries or maybe even an extra headlamp because it's the most essential piece of gear that you have while you're running through the night. But so many people that want to run these races have no concept of backcountry skills.
Well, I thought about that as we'll get later the rain kicking in, but you're talking about it now. I thought about how many people out there. I think I even said something to you. I wonder how many people out here didn't bring a rain jacket or whatever, and
so
get in a bad way.
He ran down into the pocket with me and behind me, and then I never saw him again. I told him, I said, "You better hope these jokers down here at this aid station got some batteries you can use.
Yeah,
or you're gonna sit right here and wait till the sun rises."
Yep.
So. That was funny. He was panicked.
That's another problem.
Yeah, he was legitimately panicked. So that was pretty wild. So you finally make it down that and get down into the pocket.
Yeah. Nothing big there. We get what we need. Mm-hmm. Get out. We do a little bit of running right there. Not much, but we ran a little bit, or kind of. Whatever you want to call it, and
shuffled.
That was about probably the last little run we hit right there.
Yep.
And at that point, I was just like, we just ain't gonna be able to get much more running in because of my knee.
So thank you for that order, by the way. So you've been when you get past the pocket, do you get past Pilcher's Pond? Still able to run a little bit?
I don't remember if we was running.
No, really, that gravel road.
Okay.
He was still in a pretty good way, but we just really about the fastest thing we could do was, just power hike. So
we probably went faster uphill than we did on the flats and downhills.
Oh yeah.
So your knee just got real stove up.
Yeah, I mean, it still hurts today. It's still hot, swollen. I don't know what's wrong with it, but
dang.
Yeah. It's both of them got to hurting, but one of them was just like, well, your knee's just going to hurt.
You need to hit that cold plunge, man.
Yeah, I've been icing it, but the cold plunge can make you too cold.
Yeah, that's
get that
problem.
cold.
You need to get that cold plunge, man.
But yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it, but I think some of it's my IT band, and I don't know what the rest of it is, but it's getting a little bit better every day. But yeah, I mean, it just got to the point where it was just too painful to run.
And you still got a long ways left to go.
Oh, yeah.
Son.
Yeah, from there, 25 miles, 24 miles or something.
In hard terrain, long ways left to go.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about how you dealt with that, covering that amount of ground and not being able to run. I mean, that had to be frustrating. I'll tell you how I dealt with it. I laid in the back of the Suburban, took a nap, got up, ate a little food, took me another nap, chatted with people, sat in a chair for a while, then eventually made my way down to the top of Mount Baker.
And waited a little bit longer there.
Well, yeah, a couple more hours, as a matter of fact. So that's how I dealt with it.
Well, I'm not going to deny the fact that
stayed nice and dry. Stayed out of the. I made sure I stayed out of the rain during that time.
I think I'm missing something. What are you talking about?
he's talking about how he dealt with waiting on me to finish. Yeah,
I was just telling how I dealt with that time. This amount of time.
I'm with you now.
We're talking about here.
Okay.
How'd you deal with that time?
well, I just did what I could. I mean, I had just settled into the same thing I said at Dry Creek was, well, I think, again, knowing the course allowed me to, like, all right, I know kind of what we're going to cover moving through here. I know, all right, I remember this in my training runs. This is about how much further we got left. And so I just kept.
What was the hardest part of that stretch?
Coming out at the cell towers. And then you've got, like
that. Oh, you're talking about after you come out, after you pop out.
Yeah, because that downhill is, I mean, it's.
I hate the hardest part of that section to me is the section across the ridge.
Well, if I could
pop out to the cell tower,
if I could have ran, that probably would have been it. But
that stinking thing takes forever. I hate that section.
Yeah,
it's interesting though that the actual that section is not very many miles.
I know. I don't know why it takes
like when you turn down and then go up to the towers or whatever. That's not that long.
It just
actually like 8 miles or something.
Oh, I mean,
from Stover to
from Stover, but I mean, like even it's
well, that's the part I'm talking about. Basically, once you pass Stover and then take that left on that single trail, going out through there, man, that daggone. I'll tell you what it is. Even if you feel good, you just can't do nothing with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can run a few good strides, and then you're hitting the worst daggone rocks you've ever seen in your daggone life, and you just can't do nothing with it, and it just takes forever.
Well, we
just worked through that, huh?
Well, we got to Snake Creek, and we had been fighting off the rain the whole time, and
I got worried about y'all because it got chilly out. I was like, dang, I hope them jokers were prepared for this because I heard Chili at one point was standing out in the middle of the rain just soaking wet.
Well, he was. He kept telling me, it ain't going to rain. You don't need your rain jacket. And
son, it started raining.
At the pocket, I said, well, just go ahead and give me my rain jacket anyways because Chili, if he needed to get warm, he could run. But I thought, if I get cold, I just can't warm up. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't run. So I said, just go ahead and give it to me. And we was maybe less than a quarter mile from Snake Creek, and it just dumped. And I said, Chili, this one feels a little bit different than them other ones. I believe this one's here to stay with us for a minute. And he said, yeah, might be. And but we were right at Snake Creek, and so we get in there, and I got cold sitting in Snake Creek. We weren't there long, but you stop for any amount of time, and you start to get cold. So I sat there. We did what we needed to do, and Chili got changed out, got his rain jacket, and then you got that long climb out of Snake Creek. So I was able, with that big jacket on, I was able to build up body heat on that climb.
That's a good rain jacket.
Yeah, it is. It's great. And it kept it. If I would have had that old cheap OR helium running rain jackets suck.
They're terrible. It's like to walk to the mailbox with when it's coming a little spritz.
Yeah,
spritz.
Yeah, they're just absolutely terrible. But that you got to have a good jacket, and that one did good. I stayed warm. A couple times I got too hot, and I would take it off, and then I would get a little bit cool. But it's just. If you know how to work a rain jacket and vent it and close it up and you keep fooling with all that, you can manage your temperature fine. But tons of people come, which they were running, so maybe they weren't cold, but tons of people came by us without any. I don't even remember if hardly any of them had a rain jacket.
Well, this was 35 and 50 milers too.
Well, that's true, yeah.
So they weren't.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit different deal, but yeah. I mean, that's when that all started happening, and we had, that just gets frustrating having to move over.
Yeah.
That often. But part of the reason they didn't have one too is because they had just started and they weren't running very long. But it's a long time, but not like it's a different deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there wasn't, from that point, we had the big rain. We just kept moving. And a few times I was just frustrated because I did want to run. I felt like, one, I want this to be over with. Two, I feel good enough to run everything except my knee. And Chili didn't probably never see me, but I'd try to run and I'd just say, no. I'd try a couple more times, but the downhills are just what got me. And then we, worked that whole way out. I kind of started seeing some, nothing crazy, but like I thought I seen a tent in the woods and it was just some sticks and one of them white rocks. I thought there was a hyperlight bag sitting in the middle of the trail and it was just a rock. And I swore that I saw the towers, like the clearing, the towers. And I was like, I even told Chili, I said, oh, finally, there it is. And we still had like another mile to go or something. And so, we kind of get through all that. We come out on the gravel road, and that was the section I was dreading because it's just steep, long downhill all the way to the finish until, except Mount Baker there at the end. But once you come out at the cell tower, it's all downhill. And so we got through that. And right when we come out on the pavement in that little residential area is when I started to, I was beyond tired. It's not like, oh, I'm really tired, I want to sleep. Like I told Chili, I was
You're
like,
zombie walking.
I don't even really feel like I'm here. Like I was aware enough to know that I felt that way, but I was like, I just don't even really feel like I'm here right now. I almost felt like my body was doing this and I was existing outside of it. It was just weird feeling, I mean, I guess the closest thing you could say is that it felt like a dream. It felt like I kind of, how you're almost awake, but you're dreaming, and it was just strange feeling. I'd never.
That's about
like
right.
that.
Right around that 30-hour mark.
Yeah.
That's when you can start really getting jacked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Well, he had been awake for 36.
Yeah, that's true.
Roughly, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, we get, we get all of that done, just walking one foot in front of the other, and we get to Mount Baker and see y'all, and that's kind of the last little push up to that point.
Yeah, you did good coming up Mount Baker.
Well, I could climb. I mean, the whole time. So I was glad to see Mount Baker. I hated to see all that downhill.
Mm-hmm.
But
and you brought it on in. Who was this red-headed kid that was running by you?
I don't
nobody
know.
Figure out who this was.
I told Kat, I said he's like, he'll just forever be known in all of my pictures. And is he that Nathan guy's son or not? That I don't know that Nathan guy.
I have
but
no idea.
he was at the Powerline aid station. You remember?
He was?
Yeah, that redheaded kid was there.
It might be.
And Nathan was there, and Nathan was like, Jeff told me a lot about you, a bunch of good things. And then he was like, go, and that kid was like, I'm going to run with him. And then somebody was like, no, get back here. And I assumed it was the Nathan guy telling him that. And
that guy was fired up. That
When
little
you
red-headed
finished,
kid was fired
He came
up.
flying out of the finish line to meet you.
was he not that way for everybody?
No.
No,
So
he was after you.
That's why I think maybe because if Jeff was talking to Nathan and whatever he said, maybe that kid was there with him and he had
I
heard.
don't know. Well, whoever let that kid do that ticks me off.
What?
Not me, man. That kid was fired
I
up,
don't
dude.
care.
If that was Nathan's kid, I love Nathan. I love him. He's a great guy. But somebody got to stop a kid from doing that.
Why?
That's ridiculous.
He was excited.
No.
I liked it, man. That Jagger
What's
was
the
all
problem with
about
it, Chili?
You don't
Ruining
let
people's
somebody
photos?
else's kid get in the way of a runner. That burns me up.
Brooks got a picture of when Blake crosses the finish line, and this boy is standing like off to the side, and he's doing this.
No, he was going like this.
Oh, like this.
Yeah.
I mean, this joker was all about it, son.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
care.
coming across the finish line with Blake just yelling at him. I mean,
Everybody's probably like, that kid doesn't look like Blake's other kids.
I mean, look,
He looks different.
That little fella, it ain't his fault. He's just a kid,
I
but
thought it was epic.
he got off by himself, and somebody let him do that, and that ain't.
Look, ain't nobody gonna control gingers. We all know this.
Well, I was glad he was that excited. You know, if he's that
yeah.
fired up and happy about it, then come on. He was like, he kept saying, "Come on, you can go faster than this." And I said, "Bubba, this is all I got, man. You know, this is it."
Well, how'd it feel to finish?
I was glad it was over with. I told Chili right there at the end. I said, Is this thing really ending, Chili? Is this actually happening or what? I don't know. Am I somewhere? I think I'm not, because it don't ever feel like it was going to finish. And yeah, it felt good to be done, to know it's over with, and you know, all of the doubts that I'd had in the beginning about my, you know, breathing and all that congestion and crap, and to know that probably affected it, but didn't hinder me. It felt good. And you know, my initial goal, I wanted to do it in 24 hours or less, but you know, the grand goal was just finishing, and so you know, that went out the window, but that's fine. I'm not just enthused with how long it took me to do it, but it just whatever, you know.
I'm glad it was that hard for you.
I got down
pissed. I thought you were the way you were training and running, and when I'd come run with you and you were running so well, I was like, oh man, this joker's just gonna pull a Chili and just blow through this thing. But I was glad to see you.
Well, I was too. I mean,
grinding it out.
If you know, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't fast, but I think it was just what I needed. You know, that's what I showed up there to do, was to challenge myself, push myself, and so you know, just by being out there longer, it just made me be even more patient and just even further and deeper commit to those simple things I knew would get me there. And you know, had I been able to run, I would have got a harder physical challenge. I would have got a better time. But you know, it's like, I didn't go out there to try to win it. I didn't go out there for anybody, you know, to compete with anybody. I was just out there for myself. It was just an event for me to challenge myself so that I could be better for the other people in my life. And so, I mean, honestly, I think being out there longer gave me more opportunity for that than it did had I went out there and blistered it.
Because, 100%.
If I would have went out there and ran faster, I would say that it would have been just as hard. It would just been in a different way, you know, like you would have felt pretty good, you know, but you wouldn't really have had to grind as much or had to dig as deep. You know, you probably had more different things to manage along the way rather than just slogging it out, you know. So, I mean, it turned out how it needed to turn out. To me, I don't care. There's lots of people that run it faster. There's lots of people that do 100-milers better than that, and
lots of people that run it slower too.
Yeah, but I do think that was probably the best race that I've done as far as managing myself, managing my stomach. You know, I had a couple times where it kind of flared up, but not debilitating like it was at Iron Mountain or when I did the 50-miler out there. It wasn't as bad as that. So this was, I felt like I managed the eating part really well, figuring it out in training. I think I managed coming in and out of the aid stations fast. I don't think I ever stayed there too long. Maybe in Dry Creek, there might have been a couple times I was there 5 minutes longer than I should have. But, you know, I could do better at that. But I think a lot of things went really good. And if I do another one, then I think that, you know, if I got more time to train and just build the durability of my bones and joints and tendons and all of that stuff, then I can give a lot more. But you know, that one knee, it's like you get one problem, then it just shuts you down. And you know, another thing too is that you want to there was times where I knew I needed to do something, like maybe I needed to adjust my shoe or change my socks or do this, but you get so far deep, like, and it's pouring down rain, you're cold, and you're like, I know I need to change my sock, or I know I need to tighten my shoe, but I just don't want to, because I'm just tired of this. It's cold. I don't want to move. But you just do it anyways. And so, I think there were times that I didn't do what I knew I should have done, but there were many times where I thought, no, you just need to go ahead and do it, because you're not going to be able to finish very well. You're going to finish worse if you don't go ahead and do those things.
Or you
now.
may not finish at all.
Yeah, or you may not finish at all. And so I ended up getting some, terrible trench foot, man. I remember telling Chili, felt like I was stepping on needles. I don't know. I literally thought when I pulled my sock off that my sole of my foot would be split. I was like, because I could step and I could feel something separate. Ew. And I don't know if maybe it may take a while, but in peel, but maybe the outer skin separated from kind of that inner piece, and I could just kind of feel that like a blister, but there was no fluid in it. I don't know why it got that way, if they were so saturated with water or what, but so I probably should have changed my socks. It was pouring down rain. I couldn't have, but I probably should have brought some dry socks so that when it stopped raining, I could have changed, but I didn't have the forethought to do that. So
I know somebody else that had some foot problems one time too. Do you have any introspective questions, Boo Boo?
I'm scared to ask anything because
No.
you'll look at me all mean and then
No, not at
interrupt me
all.
and change the subject.
No, not at all, sweet pea.
No, you answered a lot of questions I had just in telling the story. I do want to know about if we're going there, like, how do you feel mentally? I'm especially interested in mentally post race, like a couple of days after, but also physically.
yeah, well, the next day, as far as like awareness and things like that, I think every clarity and everything kind of came back. I pretty much forgot everything that was going on before the race. Like, luckily, I keep a running note of stuff I need to do on my phone, but lots of just emails and things I needed to follow up on that I was just going to do after the race. I looked at my notes and I was like, oh yeah, I remember. Like, I just totally forgot. If I would have had to go take care of it, I didn't remember it. And so I didn't really care about much that next day. I remember just being like real, I was like real loving toward Caitlin, and, not that I'm not all,
she deserves it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But that's just kind of where I was at. And, I kind of just get back to regular old life, but I didn't go through like a depressing stage or down.
You weren't
stage.
mean to everybody?
No, not really. I felt fine.
It's just him.
And Blakely.
Yeah. Blakely can get that way.
What, Blake? I thought it was funny when you kept coming in Dry Creek. You kept saying, "Now, Caitlin, you need to sleep."
Yeah.
Now, y'all make sure. He was so worried about Kat getting sleep. And I'm like, Kat just raised JoJo. She's fine.
Yeah. Yep,
I mean,
I remember thinking about that. But
you kept saying that every time you would come in.
She did a jam up job. Well, at least I thought.
She did.
When I came in, she had a lot of stuff, everything ready and set out.
She already had the car running.
Wasn't overbearing. Sometimes people can be overbearing. Like, what do you need? You want this? You want that? You want? She was, so the crew did really well. Everybody that showed up. And, that's another thing that I guess I'll say is that the times where I was like, oh, this just sucks. Honestly, if I was doing it for some personal reason, I don't know. I don't like to think of myself as a quitter, but if I was doing it just for myself, like, hey, I want to do this so I can say I did it, I don't think I would have finished it. But since like everybody that showed up there for me and, the training leading up to it, everybody that was a part of that, and Kat, being here by herself with the kids and all of that, was like, man, you can't let those people down. They all put in all this extra time, inconvenienced themselves, showed up out here. They're staying up all night, all this stuff just for you. And I just was like, you got to do everything you can do. But if I was out there by myself and it was just like, I think I want to run 100 miles, there's not enough reason for me to do that. I would just be like, well, this is stupid.
Yeah.
This is stupid. Why even do so? For the people that I don't know that I meet one day that maybe I can help more because now I did this race, and the people that put in the work so that it was possible, it's just like that. I mean, you got to do everything you can do, or what a just slap in the face to those people that did that. It's just like, well, screw you, man. I know you did a lot for this, but this is getting hard, and I'm over it. How could you do that?
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I stopped at Mr. C's yesterday and met a fan, came up to me and said, "Oh, I was just listening to your podcast. Did y'all run a race?" And I said, "Yeah, we ran this race." And I said, "Blake ran it. It was his first 100-miler." And the guy said, "Oh, well, y'all gonna get him into some of them long runs?" And I thought, well, he just ran 100 miles. But yeah, I guess we'll get him into some of those long runs too.
Kat went to the dump for me, and she was talking to that man, and she said, "Yeah, I'm coming out here because I don't usually bring the trash, but my husband's a little bit under the weather." And she said he just did a 100-mile run, and she said something about my toenails to him, and that guy said, "Oh, is that what he does for a living?" And she said, "No." And he said, "Well, people do them long drives carrying them cars and stuff." And he thought that I had done 100-mile run this load from here to there and
messed up your toes.
And she said, "No, he actually ran it." And he said, "Oh, that makes sense why his toenails." He said, "I couldn't figure out why his toenails would have been bad shape from a 100-mile drive."
Well, now that you got this,
You kind of do it for a living.
Oh yeah.
now that you
Part
got
of it.
this
He said
100,
doo-doo.
now that you got this 100-miler under your belt, you're gonna get into some long runs now.
I thought about it. That was that was really a training run for one of
Precursor.
them long ones.
Yeah.
That was on my training plan. That last week was supposed to have been 100 miles. So
Well, everybody wants to know. Everybody does want to know. Do you think you'll run another 100-miler?
yeah, I mean, I think I will one day. I'm not going to do it in a few months, but I might do the Georgia Jewel again. I mean, I would like to do better. The only thing that bothers me is I don't think I left anything on the table for that day. I mean, I really do think people can say, "Oh, you're making an excuse," or "Oh, everybody's got knee pain. You could have just ran." But no, I messed something up in my knee. It's not. I don't think I'm gonna need surgery, but I couldn't run. It was just terrible pain. But I think that everything else was in good enough shape that I could have done a lot better, except for that. So next year I may run it again and try and see, have my fitness up, have everything up, and see if my durability has built up enough for me to, push my cardiovascular system above what I did this last time, because that's just
So there is some hope then.
Yeah,
that you'll run another one, because a lot of people were saying, this might be one of them things for Blake that's a one and done, man. But
There's a lot of people.
he heard one person say that.
People in his head, man.
I mean, it's just, people were thinking about the ROP course and, that type of stuff. And they were like, this might be one and done for baby Blake. And I said, well, I don't know. I'll have to ask him, but it sounds like you liked it enough. You got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
And you grew from it, and you want to go back and try to do better sometime.
Yeah, I think
That's
I may,
good, man.
may try another one. I tend to do about one kind of longer run a year. But next time I like to do them. This was the first race I'd done that was just about me. I was just there by myself, and anything else has been either done, like me and you did that race, me and Paul did one, me and Kat did one. So a bunch of them have been with other people, and I like to do that. And so I like to help other people go do something. So now that I've done this, I don't think I'm in, maybe I need to do another one by myself before I try to help someone else through it, because I'd get to feeling pretty bad. But so that might be another thing that I would want to do, is go do one with somebody else. But
well, the next one you do, the next 100-miler you do, it'll be a totally different experience than your first one. At least it was for me, for sure.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about that.
Well,
I got super chats, so it doesn't have to be right now. Just don't shut her down.
Well, I just wanted Blake to tell us the story of his race, because
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't get to be around to see it all happen, and yeah, thanks for sharing all that with us, Blake. You did good, man.
Thanks. Yeah,
you did good. It's no joke. You cannot minimize, no matter how. In running 100 miles, it's not mainstream. It's mainstream compared to what it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But you don't ever. First of all, you should consider running 100 miles for the reasons Blake talked about, because you're going to get a lot of growth and do a lot of introspection and learn a lot of new things through the process of it. But I think a lot of people, especially that hang out around groups of runners or maybe listen to running podcasts or whatever, they start to kind of, in their mind, normalize running 100 miles. Like, oh, I can do that. And yes, you can do it, but do not take it lightly.
Well, they think, I know so-and-so, and he did 100 miles.
Yeah.
I know I can do 100 miles.
You can do it, but let me tell you.
You think so?
Don't,
who are you talking to?
Yeah. Do not get lulled into the place where you think, like Blake just said, oh, everybody else is doing it. No, first of all, everybody else ain't doing it. Maybe just the people you're listening to are doing it. And if you go into these things, even no matter how many times you run 100 miles, even somebody like me who's run hundreds of miles, hundreds of times. Thank you for that order, by the way. Somebody like me, it's like, I'm not going to ever even go into 100-mile or taking it lightly, because that joker will come up and bite you, son. It ain't no joke.
Oh, you were on the struggle bus almost all night.
It ain't no joke.
Well, I remember when I was doing that race, thinking about you at Cocodona, and I thought, I know now why Chad was feeling the way he did. Like, here is, we're getting maybe close to the end, 70 or 80 miles, and I think, son, at Cocodona he did 250, and I just say that because nobody can appreciate how that feels or what that distance is like. I mean, I can't appreciate what 250 is like, but
neither can Chili.
I can more so now than I could beforehand running 50. And then, so you go do that stuff and you get a whole new respect for what people are out there doing when you actually go for it yourself. And
you want to run a 100-miler. Let me tell you what you need to do first. Go run a 250-miler. All right? Go run a 250 and then go run your 100-miler. And you're going to do better at your 100-miler.
Kat told me the other day she thinks everybody should work backwards from on there. She said that's what you should do.
Just go knock the 250 out.
100, work your way down.
Go knock that out, and you're gonna be golden at your 100. All right, all right. Well, we got anything from the chat, Boo Boo?
Yeah, we got 2 super chats. We got a $75 one from.
Wow.
He's done before. I think he's given before. Manfred Kampf. KONPH.
Thank you, Manfred.
He said, "We enjoy your project and everything you do. I had to ship my merchandise to my father in Florida because Chili canceled international shipping." Womp womp.
Get over it.
Chili!
What? I mean, thank you, Manfred, but I mean, Lord, dude, we've had 18 million problems with it.
Manfred, Chili's really stressed out right now. I don't know how many orders we had come in during this show, but it was a bunch.
Now, look, people get real touchy when I crap on the international shipping. Look, man,
there's a bunch of people in England that want some shirts.
I know.
Man.
There's problems with it. We're going to have to figure something out, but it just slap don't work. We're going to have to change systems or something. Look, Manfred, I care about you. I like you. But I'm just here to tell you, you're going to have to get over it.
Manfred, we love you and we need you.
Yeah, $75, man. That's awful generous. We
for real.
really appreciate that.
The second super chat was Mark Porter. He gave $20.
We know Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I recognized the name, but his picture's really tiny.
He was on the rock course with his daughter.
Oh yeah. Okay, Mark. Yeah. Good job, guys. Hope to see y'all soon.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate that, man. Anything from the comments, Boo Boo?
Questions
talking
for Blake?
about?
No, a bunch of people are asking about the proving grounds, and y'all already said in the beginning. They just missed it. It's full, right?
Yeah, proving grounds.
Proving grounds is full, guys.
Yep. They just weren't listening.
You ever heard that old saying, crap or get off the pot?
Or the early bird gets the worm?
Yeah.
No, I don't. There's no real good questions.
No themes.
Well, that'll make them mad. That's what Blake does. He says there's no questions, and they go, "There's a bunch of questions."
Yeah, but
that's
like,
what Blake told me.
How big?
They get mad at him.
How high is your toilet off the ground? And,
I'm glad I don't have to watch the chat.
So is Chili a seal? How old is Chili?
We ain't doing that bull crap. Talking about
y'all don't need to know nothing about Chili, man. All right.
A lot of people said they like what Blake's saying about doing this race for other people. Like his why is really cool. That was a big theme. A lot of people were saying, I really like that.
Blake's a servant.
Blake is very selfless.
Yeah, Blake's a servant. Chili's actually a servant.
Unfortunately not.
On the other hand, I'm just the old bull.
Yeah,
son.
Chili, me and Chad were talking about on the way home how if it's possible for him to be kind when he's like competing in a race. Like he doesn't have to be like smooshy nice.
Why would he be kind?
He's Chad. Really, he's just truly, this might sound corny, but he is just like a warrior at heart. He wants to have somebody to struggle against, to strive against. When he's in a competitive area, he wants what?
Look at him.
He wants to be mean and play mind. You call it be mean, but play mind games.
What are you?
Hey, look, hold on. Let me tell y'all something. The last 3 days, all I've heard is how his lineage is from warriors, which he has no basis for.
No, he really doesn't.
And
Vikings specifically.
And my lineage is potato farmers. And that's all he's been talking about.
That's why she's good at growing stuff.
Look, a warrior needs potatoes, right? I mean, you got to have them carbs.
I'm just saying, I think that there's a way to race. Like, I think some of the really popular runners, like, I don't see Courtney Dauwalter ripping stuff out of people's hands or telling them you're about to get fired or yelling at them.
Well,
like,
do you see her being nice? I don't ever see her race. I've never been around her.
I mean, I see a lot
She
of
may get slapped mean.
people take a lot of videos of her everywhere she goes.
Yeah.
People are taking videos and pictures. She has a bunch of documentaries, and a lot of the big time like competitive ultra runners seem really kind to their team. And I'm just wondering,
I got low testosterone.
Is that part of like, is he excused? Is my question to you guys.
The crew part, he's being funny.
No,
is what it, yes he is.
No, he's not.
That's his way of being funny. He thinks that's funny. And then, the way he talks to other competitors is he's trying to get in their head.
Well, I don't mind that.
I tell you, I told you what I told Justin on the start line. I was standing next to Justin. I looked over at him. I said, Justin, what are you doing up here, man? You think you're actually going to beat me? I thought he was going to spank me. I was trying to fire him up, son. I was trying to fire him up. Well, yeah, there's just really no sense in formality when you're in the mix of
Why? How is formality a word for
civility?
Not being a butthole?
There's no room for civility. Okay, there just isn't. Like all of these words that we've come up with in civil society, like thank you, please. Will you please?
That's a lot
Thank
of
you,
words.
sir. May I have another?
Like all this, that's all just wasted breath, man. Like when you're in the thick of it, you just look over at somebody and say,
"Give me that avocado toast, boy."
Give me this. All right.
I told Chili a couple times I might slap him out there.
He did tell me that.
Yeah, it's good.
I forgot about that.
That's good. Chili is a dangerous pacer.
He told me
he's got a dangerous job, man.
He told me, you don't need your rain jacket, and it started raining. I said, if it rains hard, Chili, I'm going to slap you.
We took it when we needed to.
Yeah.
You wanted to take it leaving Dry Creek. I was like, nah. You said if it rained, he was going to slap me. I said, well.
Yeah, Chili gets threatened to get slapped. He's all. I'll tell you what.
He ain't never been slapped though, has he?
He ain't gonna let you stop.
No,
He ain't gonna let you stop. He'll get the job done.
You can trick him, I tell you.
Well, yeah.
You can trick him.
Tricksters can trick. Yeah. Well, I guess Chili's got some orders to go pack.
Yeah, he's got a few.
Am I going to come up to Chattanooga tomorrow and help you pack orders?
Screw you, dude.
You're not allowed to see what Chili's home and room
Screw
looks
you,
like.
Squatch.
See what his dungeon looks like?
Yeah, he's banned you from coming to his dwelling.
Dang, man.
Oof.
What's he at?
141.
Oh, good night, son.
That's just Truck Talk shirts?
Most of it.
Jeez.
Good night.
Someone said, can you do a video of Chili packing orders?
Who asked that?
Rent collector.
Oh, rent collector's always on there.
Oh, yeah. Well, wait till y'all see the Truck Talk that's coming out tomorrow. That one's going to go big, too. So that'll be another 140 for Chili, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So the Truck Talk community, man, they just come out. They just come out and answer the call.
What's the deal with these people?
I don't know, man.
Well, that's a cool shirt. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite designs.
Oh, that's the best. Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I mean, we've never seen a community come out and respond like these Truck Talk community, man. Them jokers are just, I mean, they're on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
two on it.
Y'all keep it up. Keep it up, man. All right. We love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next week.
Flip-flop.
Yeah, catch y'all next week, Lord willing. We'll see what happens between now
Last
and
live
then.
stream.
Last live stream for the day. If you didn't get your question in, freaking crapper, get off the pot. Nuff said.
End.